so I'm about to start it. I had to start it over, but yeah. So I was thinking recently. Everybody keeps making these videos, right, about how this character beats Madara or this character beats Madara in Naruto. Not in every other series. In every other series, that's one thing, but in this series, that's another thing. And I'm just looking at conceptually what this character is actually capable of doing. There is no way that any character in the series that I've seen so far is beating Madara. Just black and white in general, just because of his abilities. If you take the plot out of it, there is no way Naruto Sasuke, even today, could still beat this character with just the random abilities that he has. You know, like look at all chakra natures essentially, literally all chakra natures, right? Then you go through he has look. This is a video on jutsus that he just used. You know how many segments this is? How many jutsu he has, bro? And shout out to Laura Razi, whatever his name is. I'll leave a link to this video, but watch that video. And that's all the jutsu he has the ability to use, along with others, right? And not to mention the fact that these are videos of me just looking up some of his abilities. And he has more than this. He really does, if you think about it. The question is, I've created a scenario in my head where I don't think Naruto and Sasuke could have beaten him. That would have been easy for him to do. Just with him being the Ten Tails, Jinchuriki or whatever, and having just a very easy scenario that they would have never won. Never. No matter what they did, they would have lost. Just because of how this character is created. And it doesn't matter what plot armor you use or what they say in the story. To me, it doesn't. It just, those are plot armor. There's no way from what we've been shown, even with everything be shown, that they technically could beat this character. And now we see, like, let's look at this Biju Susanoo, right, for instance, right? One, to do this, Sasuke needs the Ten Tails not to be in Madara. But let's say even with all these things, he has it. Right? Although Sasuke is not even, in my opinion, that much stronger than the Sasuke that fought Madara or either Naruto or Sasuke, because I think they're around the same strength either way. Because I've never seen them do anything in their new fights that would put them firmly above maybe the last. But even then, you can still argue they're around the same strength because conceptually they would have been stronger than any of the feats they've seen in the show. Either any of these characters. That we can speculate. We say Naruto's moon level because he put the moon together, but then we say star level. Well, that feat doesn't matter. Okay, the air slicing through mountains, and stuff like that of base Madara without the Ten Tails is enough for me to go like, well, I definitely think these can cause damage to Naruto and Sasuke, who still at this point can get beat up by regular punches and kicks. You think every punch and kick can blow up a planet? No. And Naruto, power, durability, and all that's different. They could still die to kunai if they don't have it already. Even Naruto and Sasuke. So it's not about really base raw powers per se. Or chakra, even. But another reason I would say that is, well, even the Madara and Hashirama fight, right? The Nine Tails on paper has more chakra and power than Hashirama. But Hashirama with essentially a Nine Tails with Susanoo armor. And this is the Nine Tails before, right? Full Nine Tails, the full thing. Got cooked by a giant wooden statue. Now, yes, this is a mountain to it, so understandable. But he got grabbed like a little puppy. Like, boom. That's it. That was it. Barely a fight. So, on paper, the Nine Tails should have more chakra. And Madara should have comparable. But apparently not. It doesn't matter if you have a better jutsu. But the part of the reason why this Madara will be discussing is because this Madara has all of Hashirama's jutsus. I mean, we never see him do the giant Buddha thing. But he does a lot of jutsus that are high level that Hashirama had. So you can't really say he can't do any jutsus that Hashirama does. Because it's obvious that he can do a lot of Hashirama's jutsus. And do them even better than Hashirama to a degree because he's fighting stronger opponents with the jutsu. Maybe because it's raw chakra or whatever, but we argue that. He not only does that, he bodies all the people, he bodies all them, the Hokages, and beats them. And yes, you could say, oh yeah, Naruto's physical ability was probably superior to Madara's. That's fine. But let's go on paper. All chakra natures, let's say Naruto has them all too because of his sage. But Naruto still couldn't see the limbo clones. He could only feel them. So that's one thing you have to lay out because Naruto does not have eye jutsu. So let's talk about a story without plot armor. All right. When he released the Infinite Tsukuyomi, Naruto only could fight aside of Sasuke Susanoo. Sasuke had to protect him from the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Like, just imagine Kage didn't rip a hole through him and kill him with a Zetsu somehow, which makes no sense. That means Sasuke Naruto would have had to remain in that Susanoo. And not only that, him and Sasuke would have had to work together, which I think is a very strong combination. Right? But I'm going to put on perspective for you how strong Madara could have gotten if the story was just actually written how strong he could have gotten. So, Limbo clones, right? Limbo clones. Just three abilities I could think of. Right? So let's say Madara makes Limbo clones, right? I don't think there's a limit. If there is a limit, let me know. But I don't think there's a limit to how many Limbo clones you can make. If there is, let me know. Let's say there's 10 or 12. Let's say the limit is 10. Okay? Madara Limbo clones are unable to be seen by anyone without the Rinnegan and can only be sensed by someone with 6 past Sage Mode level sensory ability. So let's say they could sense him, they could hardly see them. So the targets are pretty obvious. Cut out Sasuke's eye or damage his eye somehow, and release your Limbo clones. But let's say there's 10 of them. Let's say you can only make 5 or 10. Let's say you can make 5. Make it easy. What's to prevent him from making hundreds of these? Like making, because he has 10 tails chakra. What's to prevent him from making 10 of these? Right? 10 of these. 9 tails Susanoo armor things. Each Limbo clone makes 2. And then he just uses a Susanoo and 10 tails Biju Susanoo, which would be probably similar to this, but it would be Madara's 10 tails Susanoo with the actual 10 tails rather than just chakra from the Jinchuriki. It would actually be a Susanoo with the tree with the 10 tails. So it'd be more of a complete transfer, I would say. Perfect Susanoo in that. Put together. Then you got like these giant Hashirama wood style clones the size that dwarf mountains together. And then at the same time he's summoning these these random satellites that they have to destroy to protect this tree. At the same time, we still don't have an excuse for why Naruto hasn't been caught in the Genjutsu yet, because the Nine Tails is not impervious to Genjutsu, especially by this guy, who literally had the Nine Tails in the Genjutsu. Neither is Naruto impervious to Genjutsu. Neither did they say somehow his chakra was. He's not impervious to Genjutsu whatsoever. He can't get clapped out of Infinite Tsukuyomi. Reason why Sasuke had to defend him. So he's staying next to Sasuke the entire time. Sasuke has a finite amount of chakra. Let's say Naruto can give him chakra. Just make it fine, which he can't, because we saw he ran out of chakra even in the fight against Sasuke. Somehow, when he's not supposed to be able to. He has to do that while fighting 4 Limbo clones, summoning meteors. It could be infinite, because the 10 tails got more chakra than the 9 tails. It could be infinite of these. He could have 100 of these, 1,000, an army of these, and they have to protect this tree, which has everybody wrapped up in it in cocoons, while he's summoning thousands of meteors, hundreds of meteors over and over, with Limbo clones summoning hundreds of meteors as well, with the Limbo clones also summoning the same wooden things over and over, because they have an infinite chakra supply because 10 tails. And then each one of them trying to catch Naruto if he steps out of that Susanoo of Sasuke in the Genjutsu the entire time. And then all he has to do is bang hands enough with Naruto to where Naruto can't really attack him. And just continuously do that over and over. He doesn't have to do anything else. That's all he has to do. And he can do it all night and day, apparently, because even without the dang 10 tails, he was fighting for days. Now he's doing that with 10 tails chakra regeneration. And they have to fight him like that for days. And then he has access to all these abilities just in case. He could, theoretically, I don't know what jutsu he can't do. He can pretty much do all the jutsus. He has 10 tails chakra. How do you know he can't do pull a third Hokage on them or something? It's just like you have to really realize why they killed him the way they did. Because there's no way. Look, because it's just this eye alone should rival this eye. Black and white. This EMS, Renegon, whatever you call it. He has all of the. He has all the. Ren Sharingan. He has all the guys. Renegon, EMS. He has Ren Sharingan. He has all the guys, bro. He has them all. And his red. I don't know if that's an indicator or anything. But he has all the eyes. He has all the styles of chakra. Limbo clones. Essentially all the jutsus. How you know? I mean, like, what could they do? Like, literally, what could you write that they could have won that fight besides they're saying they're just stronger and some plot armor types thing? You really can't. That's the thing I'm trying to say. You really can't. Because just logically, they shouldn't be able to win. Now, plot-wise, yeah, sure. Because it's a story written by some guy who just wants the heroes to win. But logically, Madara is the strongest character logically in the show. Like, you just actually think about his abilities and what he can do. Him or one of the Otsutskis, but to me, it's him. Because it's just, there has been no character that's used all the abilities he had. That's just one. Kaguya has some crazy abilities. But, Kaguya got clapped by, Kaguya has some crazy abilities, I'm not going to lie. But, even with Kaguya's crazy abilities, in a one-on-one fight, her abilities weren't as dramatic as Madara was. The only thing that was crazy was the bone turned to ash thing. That was like a one-hit quitter no matter who you are. Like, you die, you're done. But, I mean, even arguing that, I mean, it would just be similar, like, how Naruto fought. They needed the hand things to beat Kaguya anyway, apparently. But, I don't know. They needed a sealer. But I'm not really saying Madara versus Kaguya. I'm saying Madara versus Naruto or Sasuke, though. Sasuke Garden could go back in time, but without the time hacks, that's the only thing he could do. Because there's no way this Sasuke is beating him. Logically. Without saying the story just says he's stronger. Because I've not seen him do any of the things he does. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest problem I've had with Naruto. There's characters that should just outright beat other characters, just logically, that don't. Because it's just how the story's written. So when people power scale these shows, it's like, this character is broken as can be, and somehow can lose to Naruto and Sasuke. Well, I don't even know a way Naruto can whoop him. I don't even know a way Naruto can beat him. Because Naruto on paper has no way of even really beating Sasuke with just a Sharingan bullshit. He should be able to control the Nine Tails easily and just end that man's whole career. Just commonsensically. Even when it in his body, he was able to dispel him. And even B got put in the Genjutsu by Itachi. Itachi wasn't even trying. When they were doing a little fight with him, Killer B and Naruto, whether that's Naruto clone or not, who cares? It has Crown's energy, so it can actually take hits, so it's different anyway. But let's say Balrog made 1,000 Shadow clones, they were doing the same thing Madara's Limbo clones are doing. But the thing is, Madara can make Shadow clones too. So he can make Limbo clones, Shadow clones, he can do everything Naruto can do. He could probably do a Rasengan. I'm not saying he can, I'm just saying probably could. But he can definitely do all the Shadow Clone Jutsu and all that. He can do that. We seen him do that. So he can make the Limbo clones and then they all make Shadow clones. It's like, logically, there is no way this man's going to lose a fight besides you writing him out of the story. Unless it's like a character from a different show or something. Because, no, there's no way Naruto is beating him. Logically. Just logically. They literally had to write him out the show. So I understand where people are coming from when they're talking about Madara would beat them too. Yeah, I just don't think logically they could have beat him. Over time. I think over time, they both would have washed. They would have washed Naruto and Sasuke. This is just in general. Because there's just no way they were going to beat him. And there's no way that, realistically, they should have won. If you really think about his abilities. Forget the Kurama, whatever mode or whatever hand-to-hand bullshit excuses. There is no way logically they were going to beat that fight, win that fight. In my opinion. In my opinion, there is no way. And that's why I just really would die on, because there's not really much of an argument. What broken ability does Naruto have to end Madara's whole life and career besides a Sharingan, jumping band jutsu, and Kurama? I mean, he doesn't really have anything besides I'm gonna fight you until you're done, and that's not the type of character you can do that to. His regeneration is ridiculous. You saw a guy. So what is Naruto gonna do? Like the truth seeking orbs, both of them control the truth seeking orbs. So it's like there's nothing really Naruto could have done to actually beat him on a 1v1. If you really think about it. Same with Sasuke. So even new Sasuke and Naruto, I don't think they have a chance of beating him. I think the only way was either to seal him or Zetsu kill him. But the Zetsu kill him was stupid. They should have sealed him. That would have made more of an argument. But they technically failed in the fight, by the way. Because he did get the jutsu off. Even this Kiyomi. But technically they failed anyway. He won technically. So a lot of people overlook too. Technically he won. It's just his plans got destroyed by someone else. So technically he won anyway. That's why it's just so dumb when people say people are stronger than Madara and Naruto. I'm like, no, they're not. You have to write him off the story. That's how you know he's stronger than him, bro. Like, you could have done so many jutsus that are ridiculous that would have flatlined those two characters. I mean, at the very least, put them in their backs against the wall and made them have to defend a tree or something. Because there's no way they were losing to him for it. There really wasn't no way. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he could have done a lot of things. He was even ripping the chakra out of Naruto's body and ripping the chakra out of other Jinchuriki users and stuff. Like, he has so many abilities broken, just outright broken. And I just don't think any logically way you could say they could win besides the story saying they would win. That's it. You can't really just like, yeah, okay, he has this ability stronger. And it's not like that in every show. Because in other shows, like, I don't know, Dragon Ball or anything like that, and even One Punch Man, you can objectively see why someone would win. Okay, One Punch Man's going to win because that stuff wouldn't hurt him, this wouldn't hurt him, this might hurt him, this might not. You know what I'm saying? Dragon Ball, you can definitely see the power difference. It's like a vast power difference. And Naruto is not really any feats or anything that constitutes much of a power difference. The same character would be killed by a kunai. So power scaling doesn't really work, in my opinion, the same way. It does a little bit, but not really. Because there's so many instances where it's like, it doesn't make sense, you know, to say this character's automatically strong. It depends. Naruto, it's like chances. And to me, there's in more situations, Madara would win than any Naruto or Sasuke. I can't see them having an ability that would cause them to stomp this man. Even the new Kurama mode bull crap, Naruto would lose, in my opinion. Because all Madara would have to do is survive, like he did against God. Survive until they ran her out. Like, and then Naruto would have nothing. And he has a plethora of abilities to do so, to survive. Especially if you can go to the Obito world. I remember him doing that. I don't know if he could at this stage, but I remember him doing that. If he could go to Obito world, he can literally just wait until that Kurama mode wears off and have a Limbo clone fighting Naruto. Have a bunch of them and just go to that world and wait for Naruto to be done and then come back and drop his ass. Like, there's so many things he could have done that makes him like completely broken. You know, he could have hit off, could have did a lot of things. And that's why I just don't think they can beat him outright. But that's the end of this video. I'm thinking anything more of me talk about. But it's just, he could have done thousands of things and just so many jutsus. And I'm going to link this video so you guys can know what I'm talking about. That would have made him win. And the thing is, you have to write him out the story. That's the only way to beat the character like this. He could have even sacrificed his eye, used Izanagi, and then probably, I don't know, maybe even healed it. I don't know, Ten Tails power has that limitation, but he could have used Izanagi with one of his eyes or whatever. Or Izanami, or either or, if he knows how to use it. But I don't doubt he would be able to. I really don't, because the amount of abilities he could do. But if he could do any of those extreme genjutsus, he could use that shit. And Naruto only got hands. So Sasuke has a better chance almost because he understands the odd jutsus and he can see the limbo cones actually. But Sasuke is going to lose because Sasuke doesn't have the regen like that. So I don't know. I don't see it like that. But if you guys see it any other way, I understand the plot armor and all that, and oh yeah, Naruto was talking to the moon together. But he did a good use on the entire moon. I have no doubts that he had enough chakra to blow up the moon anyway. If you say Naruto and Sasuke can, I have no doubts. But yeah, I just don't see any way of them actually beating them, especially when those characters can still get hurt by regular attacks and abilities. It's not like they are Sasuke necessarily can get taken a sword being put on his neck or nothing. It's just like Naruto's durability is random. It's plot armor induced. It's not, oh yeah, this man can take a punch from a planet busting attack. No, it's just like, oh yeah, it's plot. That's how Naruto and Sasuke are. Like when they take hits, because sometimes they'll get pricked by a knife, and then sometimes, oh, now we're invincible to Razengans. Like it makes no sense really, to be honest with you. But this is the end of this video. I'm gonna end it from here. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. All right, peace.